Tonight on Y News. PNP forms task group to probe the killing of Suripen La Union Mayor Alexander Buking. Malacanang insists there is no inconsistency in the statements of President Rodrigo Duterte and the Armed Forces of the Philippines on the alleged Red October ouster plot. And the AFP clears Liberal Party from the stabilization plot against the Duterte administration. Good evening. The Philippine National Police has created a special task force to probe the killing of Suripen La Union Mayor Alexander Buking. A regional safety battalion team has also been stationed at the hospital where the victim's wife, Vice Mayor Joy Buking, was confined after surviving the attack. Leia Ilagan explains why in this report.
A special investigation task force has been formed by the Philippine National Police to look into the slay of Suripen La Union Mayor Alexander Buking. Buking, his driver, and police officer to Rolando Wanbe were all killed when they were ambushed while on board a vehicle around 6 last night along Bangar Castro Provincial Road in La Union. Buking's wife, Vice Mayor Joy, was also aboard the vehicle but she survived the attack. She sustained stray bullet gunshot wounds in the head and left hand, but she is now recovering in a hospital. The PNP says investigators have already obtained physical evidences from the crime scene and accounts from possible witnesses. But they are yet to get any statement from the Vice Mayor and their family to know whether the mayor received death threats prior to the attack. The PNP also stationed a regional safety battalion team at the hospital where the Vice Mayor is currently recuperating.
Merong enhanced security protection o protective security dahilan sa meron ng banta sa kanyang buhay dahil siyang remaining suspects doon. Victim at witness, possible witness. So definitely ang adequate security ay ibibigay po yan ng PRO1.
Duran says the police are considering other possible motives in Buking's killing, including business dealings and politics, since he is not in the list of narco-politicians. The Malacanang meanwhile also condemned the killing of Buking.
Hindi ko po sinasabi na justified, pero alam niyo kasi panahon na ng politika. So, ang katotohanan niya, ang tanging solusyon dyan is dapat maparusahan lahat ng pumapatay para maibalik at takot sa puso at sa isipan ng mga pumapatay sa lipunan.
Buking was the 11th local chief executives killed under the Duterte administration. Other slain mayors include Tanawan City, Batangas Mayor Antonio Halili, General Thio Mayor Ferdinand Bote, Albuera Leyte Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr., and Ozamis City Mayor Reynaldo Parohinog, and Ronda Cebu Mayor Mariano Blanco. Apart from mayors, several vice mayors were also killed by still unidentified gunmen under the current administration. Police say most of these cases are nearly resolved with the arrest of the perpetrators except for Halili's murder.
Out of the recent killings ng mga mayor, halos lahat na-solve na ng Philippine National Police. Nagpapasalamat tayo sa Diyos, no? At sa kasipagan ng ating mga kapulisan na sa ngayon ay na-solve nila yung sa Vice Mayor ng Tres Martires, from the mastermind to the assailants.
Durana also says the PNP is ramping up its efforts to run after gun-for-hire groups to prevent the spike of political killings, especially with the upcoming national elections.
Well, nakikita natin if we'll study all the elections, in the run-up to the election, meron talagang spike, no? Kaya nagpapalabas ng direktiba si Chief PNP to run after the gun-for-hire at sa mga private armed groups para to preempt or to at least prevent this spike of shooting or killings of local chief executives.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue Camp Crame.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines clears the Liberal Party from the alleged destabilization plot against President Rodrigo Duterte. However, the military maintains that the Red October plot is true. Let's find out why from Victor Cosare.
Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez Jr. clarifies that none of the members of the Liberal Party is behind a rumored destabilization plot against the Duterte administration. During the Senate deliberation on the proposed 251 billion peso budget of the Department of National Defense, Galvez and Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana got the chance to face Senators Antonio Trillanes IV and Francis Pangilinan, who are being implicated as the front-runners of the Red October plot. Galvez confirms they are monitoring the Communist Party of the Philippines New People's Army as the one behind the ouster plan and none among the LP members, not even Trillanes and Pangilinan.
There is no coalition between the Liberal Party and the Communist Party to oust Duterte.
Sir, an answer.
Because I will categorically state that there is no desire on the part of the Liberal Party to oust President Duterte.
However, the AFP Chief of Staff insists that based on military intelligence report, the Magdalo group in which Trillanes is a member has been recruiting some members of the AFP to join in the said destabilization movement. Trillanes has denied the allegations. Galvez also maintains that the AFP already confirmed through its intelligence unit that the Red October plot is true based on frequent communications made by CPP-NPA founder Jose Maria Sison with groups of students in 10 universities in Metro Manila.
In fact, they have already organized 10 of the universities in Manila. And right now, they are making a lot of information drive wherein they will show to the whole high school and even college students the different atrocities committed during the Marcos regime and equate that to the present administration.
Though he refused to name the said schools, Galvez says they are holding documents to support their claim, especially the efforts of Sison to connect with the University of the Philippines through numerous conference calls.
Meron po kami talagang I cannot reveal yon, but I can reveal it to the executive session so that we can see the vast efforts of the CPP-NPA in order to oust Duterte.
The military also reveals parts of the alleged Red October plot, which is said to include operations called Talsik and Aklasan that include CPP-NPA's plan to launch a massive labor protest and tactical offense. These will be followed up by protest actions by left-leaning groups until December, coinciding with the Communist Party's 50th anniversary. The military assures that the government troops are ready to deter any destabilization attempt against the administration. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Malacanang remains firm that there are no inconsistencies on the statements of President Duterte and the Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez on the alleged collusion of leftist groups and the opposition to oust the Duterte administration. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Although they do not have any signed formal agreements to back up their claim, Malacanang insists that there are members of the opposition, particularly the Liberal Party, who try to collaborate with leftist groups to oust President Rodrigo Duterte. This is despite the recent statement of AFP Chief of Staff General Carlito Galvez during the Senate budget hearing that the Liberal Party, Senators Francis Pangilinan and Antonio Trillanes IV, are not part of the Red October ouster plot against the administration. For Malacanang, there are no inconsistencies in the statements.
No inconsistency. We are convinced that some members of the LP Party, Liberal Party, are in collusion with the CPP-NPA. Now, Trillanes has made no secret that he wants to oust President Duterte, and I think his language speaks for itself.
Roque also said that no one will admit that they collude with the leftist groups, but the government has the intelligence information. President Duterte was the first to mention that leftist groups, the Liberal Party and the Magdalo Party List are working together to oust him.
There's intel information in this regard, and as far as we're concerned, we're considering all this information as valid information, and we're ready to face them.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Senator Antonio Trillanes IV stands firm that his amnesty granted by former President Benigno Aquino III and the Armed Forces of the Philippines was valid and legal. In his privileged speech earlier, the senator once again showed documents and evidence proving the validity of his amnesty. The senator also argued that a missing application form should not be a basis to claim that his amnesty was invalid. Senator Trillanes has called on his colleagues to intervene with the Supreme Court to shed light on the issue and to prove that the move of President Duterte revoking his amnesty was unconstitutional.
Maliwanag ho, from all angles, from all levels, talagang valid po yung naging amnesty sa akin, and therefore mali itong proclamation ito.
Ex-OFW party list representative John Bertiz apologizes for attributing his bad behavior at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to a monthly period. Bertiz acknowledged his remark was stupid, which he usually uses when his wife is being emotional. Women groups have slammed the party list Solon, saying that women should not be typecasted as arrogant and entitled during their monthly period. The party list Solon was under fire when he was seen confronting a transportation officer after refusing to take off his shoes at the airport's final screening area prior to his departure Saturday morning. On our Usiserong Pinoy, usapang sinserong Pinoy, netizens from all over the country and the world are given the chance to contribute their personal stories relevant to every Filipino. Let's hear the reaction of Usiserong Pinoy Erica Pimentel, a law student from Batangas, and Aim Matawaran, a teacher in Antipolo City, about this issue.
For the past 3 years of being a congressman, once a year, he gets something like a monthly period and telling people na tao lang po, marupok, at uminit ang ulo. Well, that was just plainly stupid. Why would you even compare what you did to a woman's monthly period? He even included the nature of us women in his stupid act. You know, Mr. Bertiz, you don't look for basis on your acts. You should have just plainly apologized and admit you're wrong. I mean, you should pull your together. If you're a congressman, you just act like one.
Yung position mo, you are there for a purpose, and hindi ibig sabihin na you can just joke around about it. Hindi yan joke, hindi joke kung nasan ka ngayon. I mean, seryoso yan, seryosong trabaho yan. For this country to be better, dapat yung leaders na rin yung mag-start. Sila yung mag-set ng good example.
We encourage netizens to share their personal stories, videos, and pictures and send them to untv.usiserongpinoy@gmail.com. Be part of Usiserong Pinoy, sincere stories from our kasangbahay. Meanwhile, Filipinos working in France trooped to the Philippine Embassy in Paris as the overseas voters registration for the 2019 midterm poll ends. Piching Vizcara Garin tells us why.
Filipino workers in France endured long lines at the Philippine Embassy in Paris as they rushed to complete the voting registration process for the May 2019 midterm national elections. The Commission on Elections has set September 30 as the last day of registration for overseas absentee voting. Annalyn Pantinople, who has been working in France for 2 years now, was among those who took advantage of their day off to troop to the Philippine Embassy to register.
Actually, dumating ako ngayon lang mga 3 o'clock. Tapos nung pumasok ako sa loob, number 20 yung nakasalang. Tapos yung number ko, 146. Bali, good luck na lang po sa akin. Sana po aabot. Pero tingin ko, hindi. Pero antayin ko na lang po ang 5 baka sakali po.
Gemma Degamo also took time to travel and register in order to exercise her right to suffrage even if she is living outside the Philippines.
Gusto naming maiboto yung mga gusto namin na mananalo, na maging susunod na leader sa Senado, na alam natin na makakatulong sa ating bansa.
The overseas absentee voting registration process was a bit slow due to the volume of applicants, prompting others to suggest for the embassy to also open during Saturdays in the next voters registration period. This is to address more concerns and accommodate Filipino workers who wish to register during their free time on weekends.
So request sana namin, dapat ang embassy open ng Saturday, Sunday kasi karamihan sa mga kababayan namin, kagaya sa amin na OFW, off namin ng Saturday, Sunday. So pag merong mga ganitong bagay, magagawa namin ng paraan.
Ang dami namin hanggang dito sa labas. Yun. Ang iba, gutom na. Yung kasama ko, gusto na niyang umalis, pinipilit lang namin, mag-rehistro ka na.
The registration promptly closed at 5 p.m., though embassy officials still cater to OFWs who filed their applications prior to the cut-off time. The Philippine Embassy also advises Filipinos in France to closely monitor advisories by visiting its website www.parispe.dfa.gov.ph or following its Facebook page, Philippine Embassy in France. Pitching Vizcara Garin, UNTV, News and Rescue, Paris, France.
Up next on Y News. Death toll in landslide hit Naga, Cebu rises to 77 while 8 persons still missing. Malacanang believes a possible joint exploration with China in the West Philippine Sea will give energy security to the Philippines. And young talents of Southern Luzon battle on the last day of Wishcovery auditions. Thank you for keeping me company in the first part of Y News. More reasons behind the stories with Thio after this quick break. I'm Rheena Villamor-Camara. Good evening.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Rheena Villamor-Camara left off. I am Thio. Here are the headlines. Transport groups eye another 1 peso provisional fare hike amid surging oil prices. Price drop in commercial rice starts in Metro Manila markets. And the Bureau of Customs seizes 8 million pesos worth of smuggled tires and other goods at the Manila International Container Port. Transport groups are pushing for another 1 peso provisional hike in minimum fare amid rising oil prices. Let's find out why from Monhok Son's report.
Jeepney drivers are feeling the crunch from the steady rise of fuel prices for 8 weeks now. The cost of fuel has been increasing, making it hard for them to make ends meet. This has prompted jeepney operators to appeal to the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to grant their petition for another 1 peso provisional fare hike. Jeepney operators have a pending fare hike petition of 12 peso minimum fare. If the 1 peso provisional fare will be approved, minimum fare on jeepneys will be raised to 10 pesos. Obet Martin of Group Pasang Mazda says they already met with LTFRB officials who assured to look into their requests.
LTFRB is negotiating to us para doon sa piso, gagawin ng 10 piso. So sabi namin, okay, we will take that into consideration, but still, kung may mga pagtataas magaganon sa mga dapat dito, kagaya nga ngayon, napakalaki, 1 peso 35 centavos, napakatigas nga.
Jeepney drivers are in favor of a 10 peso minimum fare, but some commuters are opposing the proposal.
Malaki kasi 3 piso dinagdag eh. Maka iba hindi na magbayad yun. Lalo yung mga sabit, hindi na magbayad ng 12 yun, di ba?
Kung medyo pahirap po para sa akin. Kasi basta mahirap, mataas na pong bilihin.
Pero sa akin, ayos na naman. Para hindi rin naghihirap yung mga driver.
But for the commuters group, the government should impose measures to help consumers, such as suspending the implementation of fuel excise tax and strengthening its agency's power to recover losses from smuggling.
Gusto namin tumulong. Pero ang problema,
Ayaw nila yung mga mungkahi natin dahil nga maaaring yung mga proyekto, nakikita yung mga oligarko ng mga bilyon ng piso, trilyon ng piso na mga pinag-uusapan dito, di ba? Ilan lang naman sila. Pero marami tayong nahihirapan. So, kung gustong i-address yung problema, may solusyon. Problema lang, may tapaoho yung mga kamote economic managers natin.
Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, the government believes the possible joint oil exploration between the Philippines and China in the West Philippine Sea will help address surging oil prices and ensure the country's energy security. The government is eyeing to sign a formal agreement with China during President Xi Jinping's visit to the country this year. However, Malacanang clarifies that the agreement will not be immediately implemented pending processes and studies undertaken on the matter.
Kaya nga po, isa sa pinag-aaralan at talagang gusto isulong ng ating administrasyon, yung joint exploration na ng West Philippine Sea. Dahil ang pagkakaintindi namin, sang-ayon po sa mga initial na pag-aaral, talagang may lamang pong natural gas and langis.
The National Food Authority, or NFA, tells consumers to expect a further drop in rice prices towards the end of October, following the noticeable decrease in prices of commercial rice in Metro Manila markets. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
The National Food Authority is confident that prices of commercial rice will continue to drop in the next 2 weeks or 1 month. NFA spokesperson Rexis Tuperas explains that farmers at this time of the year are expected to harvest their yield, which can add to the supply in local markets. The agency also released more supply of NFA rice to authorized outlets nationwide. With these measures, consumers may expect a further drop in rice prices towards the end of the month. However, since the price of NFA rice is way lower than the commercial rice, the agency plans to add more outlets of government rice, like in schools, to make the supply more accessible to consumers.
Kung maraming bigas natin, like the importation, magdagdag tayo ng outlets, i-disperse lang natin yung pila.
A number of supermarkets were also given the authority to sell NFA rice even without paying their licenses.
But she will select number of outlets and location from control. It's not because ayaw nila ng iba. It's because they want control. Ako, isang tao lang kausap, isang board lang kausap, no, madaling kausapin kaysa isa mong kausapin lahat.
Javier Villena, a rice retailer in Kamuning Market in Quezon City, says his supplier has projected a reduction of rice prices by next week.
Dati gayon lamang 44. Ngayon na may 42, may 43. Kaya bumaba na yan ng mga 100 pesos per bag.
Rice retailer John Edward Amar, who sells 10 to 15 bags of NFA rice a day, also believes that rice prices will drop soon. He also observes that NFA rice is more preferred than commercial rice among consumers nowadays.
Pag may ani na, bababa na yan. Halos parehas na lang yung lasa. Mas nakakatipid po sa budget.
On Friday, October 5, the NFA will open the bidding process for the importation of additional 750,000 metric tons or 15 million bags of rice. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Bureau of Customs is probing some of its personnel following the seizure of several misdeclared shipments at the Manila port. The agency is also on alert for the surge of shipment this holiday season. Jay Alasayo tells us why.
The Bureau of Customs intercepts 8 million pesos worth of misdeclared goods loaded inside 2 40-foot container vans at the Manila International Container Port. The shipment, declared as second-hand truck parts, arrived on September 8 and consigned under NSGV trading. It was discovered on September 14 through X-ray screening that the container vans contained brand new tire wheels valued at 3 million pesos. Meanwhile, another consignee, D3S Trading, failed to claim its shipment, which arrived on May 9, 2018. The items were declared as paper, mosquito nets, and clothes. Nonetheless, the BOC issued an alert order against the shipment because the second screening on August 20, 2018 revealed that the contents of the container vans were actually a forklift, 18 drums of glycerol chemical, computer motherboards, and cellular phones with an overall value of 5 million. the BOC issued a warrant of seizure of goods and detention of owners against the shipment. The agency will launch an investigation to identify the persons who processed the documents for the attempt to deliver the goods.
So this is another case of lift and alert scheme within the Bureau. So madadagdagan na yung kinasuhan natin ng mga personnel ng Bureau of Customs na ganitong klaseng mga modus.
The BOC will set the condemnation of the seized items in the coming days. Together with the 885 cases of cigarettes from South Korea worth 18 million that had been abandoned since September 2017. However, the BOC plans to auction the brand new tires if they pass quality standard. Commissioner La Peña assures they are now on alert for the surge of shipment this holiday season, the time of the year when smuggling activities are rampant. JL Asayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The provincial government of Cebu is looking to build at least 320 housing units in a 2-hectare property in Naga City. Authorities are also contemplating on whether to terminate or not the ongoing search and retrieval operation in the landslide-hit village of Naga, Cebu. Let's find out why from Gladys Tawabi.
More bodies were retrieved at the landslide site in the city of Naga in Cebu, bringing the number of confirmed deaths to 77. Based on the latest report of a local disaster office, 8 persons remain missing while the identification of retrieved bodies is underway. Local officials say they might announce the decision on Thursday on whether or not to terminate the search operation that is now on its 2nd week. The local government is presently working on the relocation of families in the landslide area. According to Cebu Governor Hilario Davido III, they have already inspected the 2-hectare part of Balili property in Naga, which was recommended to become a relocation site by the Mines Geosciences Bureau.
We assured the city of Naga, Mayor Chong, the province will set aside a portion in Balili property for the relocation.
According to Naga City Mayor Christine Chong, more than 320 housing units will be built in the said area by the National Housing Authority as promised by President Rodrigo Duterte. Additional 80 units will also be constructed by the Naga government within 3 months for families living in critical or dangerous sites.
Ongoing karon ang markings and numbering of all structures located within the critical zone. More or less, there is an estimate of 350 structures within the critical zone. So these are the families that will be prioritized for relocation.
The local government also assures to extend assistance to the landslide victims who are awaiting relocation. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Cebu.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources urges workers and establishment owners in Boracay to live in towns and municipalities bordering the island ahead of its reopening on October 26. Vincent Arboleda tells us why.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources calls on the management of hotels and other establishments in Boracay to transfer their workers to alternative settlements in adjacent towns. This is to reduce the pressure and damage on the island by avoiding overcrowding and strictly managing the number of tourists. Based on data gathered by the DENR, the island has a total of 55,000 residents and workers. This number excludes the daily allowable tourist population of 19,215. Among the areas being considered as alternative settlements are villages in Caticlan and Sambiray in the Malay town of Aklan, which is fronting Boracay. The proposal is still pending approval, but local officials in the said areas are now planning to draft some guidelines in operating board and lodging houses.
May expected more or less 5,000 na workers ang tutuloy sa Caticlan. Marami yan. Now ngayon nasa 8,000 yung population ko sa Caticlan plus 5 mga 13,000. Kasi may ang maging problema yung Pisan Northern and sanitation.
Establishment owners, for their part, have expressed willingness to cooperate with the government's proposal to facilitate the transfer of their workers to meet the island's carrying capacity.
We can put our resources together and then just provide the proper basic necessities and infrastructure for the people. We are willing and we are going to cooperate. Of course, it's much cheaper there, and it's for environmental side. If we have less workers here and they live there, we have more tourists to come.
With the Boracay Island's anticipated reopening, Boracay workers can stay for now in their respective staff houses. But once their transfer to alternative settlements has been facilitated, they will have to relocate to the mainland, Aklan. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Boracay.
Typhoon Queenie has slightly accelerated and intensified as it moves in a northwest direction. Pagaso says Typhoon Queenie was earlier spotted at 1,080 kilometers east of Tuguegarao City, Cagayan, packing maximum winds of 200 kilometers per hour with gustiness of 245 kilometers per hour. The typhoon is not expected to make landfall over any part of the country and is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility by Friday. However, its trough will bring rains over Cagayan Valley, Aurora, Quezon, and Bicol regions as well as in eastern Visayas. Sea travel is also risky in the northern and eastern seaboards of Luzon. Metro Manila and the rest of the country, meanwhile, will experience fair weather with localized thunderstorms. Young talents of Southern Luzon battled at the last day of Wishcovery auditions. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
For 2 months, the Wishcovery team traveled in different parts of the country to find the next singing sensation. And for its last day of auditions in Santa Rosa, Laguna, young talents of Southern Luzon didn't miss a chance to be wish-covered. Aspiring recording artist Eliza Valenzuela dedicates her singing journey to her father.
Yung family ko po, lalo na po yung father ko na nawala na, isa siyang singer, and sa kanya ko naman na yung pagkanta, so gusto ko ipagpatuloy.
Business administration student Danilo Tagilid also auditioned for his and his family's dreams.
Gusto ko rin pong matupad yung mga pangarap ng magulang ko na magkaroon ng pangalan sa industriya ng musika.
Communication student Julia Lopez also showcased her powerful vocals.
Sobrang laking opportunity po kasi isa na rin po doon para makatrabaho ko po na isang kilalang composer po sa industriya.
After the auditions, the pre-qualifying round of Wishcovery Season 2 is set to begin. The biggest online singing competition will air on the #1 FM YouTube channel in the country, Wish 1075. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Santa Rosa, Laguna.